as a producer also, I was, of course, concerned about appearances, the performances of my artists. And when I had some groups I produced, I became interested in what other bands do on stage. And in the 70s, in the second half of the 70s, there was a lot theatrical change in the performances of the singers on stage. And so I became interested in doing something on stage which is more than just songs. This was actually my first time where I really was interested in musical theater, because I realized that there is musical theater, and of course I knew the Broadway musical. But to be quite honest, I was never interested in the Broadway musical, because in my imagination, the Broadway musical was a show where gay people were dancing on the stage with straw hats, and girls were throwing their legs, and I wasn't interested in that. But then my then attorney in New York forced me to go into a musical on Broadway, and out of, I was just nice, and he had the tickets, and I wouldn't, I came along, and I was actually electrified, because I saw a show called The Wiz, and it was done with an all-black cast, and it was soul music all through, and it was very popular music. I thought, if that is musical, I may be interested in that, And at about the same time, a recording came out called Jesus Christ Superstar. It was a concept record done in England, and I think it was like lightning for me. It was something that really struck me, because when I listened to that album, and I didn't know the people who did it, I was so excited, because it told a whole story. And at that time, I was sick of telling 3-minute stories in my songs. And I thought, if it's possible to do an album with 70 minutes, which is about a beginning and an end, and a confrontation in between, then I would like to do that as well. Well, I tried to do similar things with my recording artists. I did some concept albums, which I called them that way, and in the end, none of that worked, and partly, of course, because people were not ready for that kind of form, especially, of course, people who expected a row of hit songs in an album. They didn't have the patience to listen to the whole album as if they go to the theater or listen to something in the radio. And so none of this, I made a very, 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 very big flop with one of my groups who had a #1 hit in the States, and I did a concept album called Madhouse, which was again a little bit a protest. So again, it was about the world today, and the album before that sold about 2 million records. This one sold 100,000, so it was a terrible flop, But anyway, I tried it, and at that time already I became interested in other media. I was working for TV. I wrote big shows for German TV producers, basically award shows, galas, that kind of entertainment. But I found out when I did that, I had a certain talent to elicit emotion. People were in these gala shows, when I wrote certain thanks, certain descriptions about the people who were to get awards. People were really emotionalized, and I thought, well, that's also a talent of yours. It's not just writing songs. And I also became interested, of course, in movie making, and I wrote a movie script which really failed terribly. I don't want to mention it, but what it did to me, it forced me to get interested in the structure of movies. So I went to story seminars. I went to Robert McGee. I went to John Truby. I heard Michael Haig and Chris Vogler, and I found it very interesting. Actually, all these ideas about how to structure a good story was something that really grabbed me. It was something I became interested in because I think before you write, you always try to set up the story, and you usually start doing this by following your instincts. But what an advantage if you know what you have to think about in structuring a story. And this applies to the 3-minute song as well as to a book of 600 pages, which, by the way, I also wrote. But at this crucial moment, when I was fed up with producing and actually decided from one day to another, and it was something I discussed with my wife, because, of course, I never was at home, and I said, the only way to stop this is to give it up from one moment to the next. So I wrote a letter to my 30 artists and told them that I will not produce anymore starting from January 1st. And I know you have contracts, I know you depend on me, but you have to find some other producers. I will try to help you. And that was it. And I thought I am really someone who is... nobody could fill the void, but a lot of people could. So I was happy to be released, and I, in the end, never regretted not going to the studio anymore. Today I only go to the studio to do demo recordings for my shows, or sit in to watch how the cast album is done.